it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. So today I have my March book haul for you, so stay tuned. So I'm here with another book haul, and this time it is all the places that I've gotten books from in the past month other than Book Outlet. So that's any unboxings that I've done, Barnes & Noble, BooksAMillion, thriftbooks.com. I think those are all the places that I got these books from this time. And there are 17 books here. So, shall we get started? So my first set of books here are from BooksAMillion. It's my most recent purchase. I was actually driving by on my way to Starbucks, and I passed BooksAMillion, and they had this sign hanging out saying that they now buy used books, movies, and music. And I was like, that means if they buy them, they must sell them. So I went in to see what used books they had. And granted, it's not entirely easy to find the used books because they're actually not in a separate section. They're mixed throughout with the new books. So if you go to, say, the young adult section and you're going through and you find a new book by said author, you might find a used book by them as well in the same spot. Anyway, I actually only ended up buying one used book, but it's the one that I've been looking for, and that is It by Stephen King. And I paid a whole $2.05 for this. Actually, I paid a little bit less because I have like their membership thing, so I think I get like 10% off or 20% off or something like that. Plus, I get like coupons to use there. So I paid very, very little for this. And I've been looking for a good used copy for a while now, because a new one's like 20 bucks and I don't want to spend 20 bucks. So I actually thought I had gotten one on Boxing Day from Book Outlet, but it sold out before I could complete my checkout. So okay, the next book is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. And this is about a politician's daughter who's expecting to do some important, like, political internship for the summer, and, well, she doesn't get that. And she ends up walking dogs as her summer job, and it turns out to be, I guess, life-changing for her, because everything unexpected ends up coming from it, or something like that. Oh, and I got all the rest of these books from BooksAMillion were all bargain books, so this one was only $3.97. Next is Love and Gelato, and it's kind of messy looking. That may be why it's a bargain book. I don't know, but it was also $3.97. So this is about a girl named Lena whose mother has passed away, and it's her mother's dying wish that Lena goes and gets to know her father, who lives in Tuscany, Italy. And she's really not interested at all in getting to know this man because why hasn't he been a part of her life for the past 16 years? And then he gives her her mother's journal. And as she reads it, she starts learning all kinds of things she did not know about her mother, and all kinds of secrets come out, and it kind of changes everything that Lena knew about her mother, her father, and even herself. And it sounded really cute, but I hate that the cover is messy. Next up is Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen, and this was also $3.97. So this is about a girl named Sydney who never wanted to be in the spotlight and would always rather somebody else be the center of attention. And then a terrible accident lands her brother in jail and thrusts her family into the public eye because of it. And Sydney finds solace with the Chathams, a family that runs the local pizza parlor. And she's able to really focus on the things that matter and not all the chaos that's going on around her. Okay, next up is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this is about a girl named Emma who in her 20s marries her high school sweetheart Jesse. And they are just living life to the fullest. They travel the world. They have great jobs. They're just living their best life. And on their 1-year anniversary, Jessie's helicopter goes missing over the Pacific, and Jessie is gone forever. Now in her 30s, Emma has moved back home to try to put her life back together. She's reconnected with an old friend named Sam, and they fall in love, and they get engaged, and everything seems to be going good again in her life. And then Jessie is found. And now she has both a husband and a fiance, and she's got to figure out who her true love actually is. That seems like a difficult situation to be in. And I got this book for $4.97. Next up is The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord. And it says, it's been 1 year since it happened. When Paige Hancock's first boyfriend died in a swimming accident, she shut out almost everyone. Now Paige has decided it's finally time to rejoin the world, and she has a plan. First on the list, go out with Ryan Chase, her longtime and newly single crush. And last on the list, swim. Terrifying, yet possible. But when Ryan's sweet nerdy cousin Max moves to town and recruits Paige for the Quiz Bowl team of all things, her perfect plan is thrown for a serious loop. Starting over isn't easy, but Paige knows the scariest things are usually the most difficult. Can she face her fears and open herself up to life and love again? And it sounded cute, and it was also only $3.97. And last but not least from BooksAMillion is Revelant of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. And honestly, I don't even really know what this book was about, but I just kept coming back to it, and it was this cover was just so stunning. And I kind of glanced at it a little bit about what it said on the back, which was not, it was just blurbs. And it said, like, vivid, romantic, and wildly entertaining. And irresistible energy, heart-stopping action, a new voice that sings. And I couldn't not get it. I don't know why. And on the front it says, they say she'll always be more gunpowder than girl. The desert has other plans. And it kind of gives me like this Arabian Nights kind of feel. And it says, mortals rule the desert nation of Miraji, but mythical beasts still roam the wild and remote areas. And rumor has it that somewhere, jinn still perform their magic. For humans, it's an unforgiving place, especially if you're poor, orphaned, or female. Amani al-Hiza is all three. She's a gifted gunslinger with perfect aim, but she can't shoot her way out of Dustwalk, the backcountry town where she's destined to wind up wed or dead. Then she meets Jin, a rakish foreigner, in a shooting contest, and sees him as the perfect escape route. But though she spent years dreaming of leaving Dustwalk, she never imagined she'd gallop away on a mythical horse, or that it would take a foreign fugitive to show her the heart of the desert she thought she knew. Rebel of the Sands reveals what happens when a dream deferred explodes in the fires of rebellion, the smolder of romantic passion, and the all-consuming inferno of a girl finally, at long last, embracing her power. And this was $4.97. I'm actually curious to see if I'll like this, because it doesn't sound like something that I normally would read. But I don't know, I was just drawn to this book and I couldn't leave without it, so hopefully I'll like it. Okay, so the next two books I got came from thrift books, and I don't know where the receipts are, so I can't tell you how much I paid for them. But the first book I have is Partials by Dan Wells, and this is the first book in the Partial Sequence series, or trilogy. I'm not sure. It says, the human race is all but extinct after a war with partials. Engineered organic beings identical to humans has decimated the population. Reduced to only tens of thousands by RM, a weaponized virus to which only a fraction of humanity is immune. The survivors in North America have huddled together on Long Island while the partials have mysteriously retreated. The threat of partials is still imminent, but worse, no baby has been born immune to RM in more than a decade. Our time is running out. Kira, a 16-year-old medic in training, is on the front lines of this battle, seeing RM ravage the community while mandatory pregnancy laws have pushed what's left of humanity to the brink of civil war, and she's not content to stand by and watch. But as she makes a desperate decision to save the last of her race, she will find that the survival of humans and partials alike rests in her attempts to uncover the connections between them, connections that humanity has forgotten, or perhaps never even knew were there. Dan Wells, acclaimed author of I Am Not a Serial Killer, takes readers on a pulse-pounding journey into a world where the very concept of what it means to be human is in question. One where our humanity is both our greatest liability and our only hope for survival. So I thought that sounded pretty cool. And there's a quote on the back, and it says, "When our ancestors were attacked at Pearl Harbor, they called it a day that would live in infamy. The day the partials attacked us with the RM virus will not live in anything, because there will be none of us left to remember it." President David R. Cregan, March 21st, 2065, in a press conference at the White House. 3 hours later, he hanged himself. And next up is Rebel Belle by Rachel Hawkins. And I thought this was really pretty. It says, Harper Price, peerless Southern belle, was born ready for a homecoming tiara. But after a strange run-in at the dance, Harper's destiny takes a turn for the seriously weird. She's imbued with the powers of a paladin, a guardian with agility, super strength, and lethal fighting instincts. Just when life can't get any more disastrously crazy, Harper finds out who she's charged to protect. David Stark, school reporter, subject of a mysterious prophecy, and possibly Harper's least favorite person. Things get complicated when Harper starts falling for him and discovers that David's own fate could very well be to destroy Earth. And though it's very different, it totally gives me like a Buffy vibe. I don't know why, but it does. I guess the whole teenage girl fighter taking on the evil, that kind of thing. It just kind of screams Buffy to me. Granted, it didn't say anything about vampires. Okay, so the next 5 books that I have all came from subscription boxes. So I was a bit behind on a lot of my boxes. So some of these, like one of them actually was from a December box. So we have like December, January, and February's boxes. Okay, so first off we have Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. And I believe this was from the December Owl Crate. And it says, when Claudia accidentally eavesdrops on the epic breakup of Paige and Iris, the it couple at her high school, she finds herself in hot water with prickly, difficult Iris, thrown together against their will into a class production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Along with the goofiest, cutest boy Claudia has ever known, Iris and Claudia are in for an eye-opening senior year. Smart, funny, and thoroughly wonderfully flawed, Claudia navigates a world of intense friendships and tentative romance in this book about expanding your horizons, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, and accepting and loving people for who they really are. Okay, next up we have Love, Sugar, and Magic, A Dash of Trouble by Anna Morano. And this was from the January Owl Crate Junior box. And this is about a girl named Leo whose family runs a bakery, and there's a big celebration for the Day of the Dead. And her mother and her older sisters all go to the bakery the day before or something to bake the cookies and cakes and whatever for the Day of the Dead. And Leo shows up without anybody knowing and learns that her mother and her sisters have magic, and they put their magic into their baking. And so Leo learns that she has magic and decides she's going to help. And her friend Caroline ends up with the problem, and Leo's determined to help her with her magic. Okay, next up is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. And this was from the January Owl Crate. It says, guard your mortal heart. Jude was 7 when her parents were murdered, and she and her 2 sisters were stolen away to live in the treacherous High Court of Fairy. 10 years later, Jude wants nothing more than to belong there, despite her mortality. But many of the Fae despise humans, especially Prince Carden, the youngest and wickedest son of the High King. To win a place at the court, she must defy him and face the consequences. As Jude becomes more deeply embroiled in palace intrigues and deceptions, she discovers her own capacity for trickery and bloodshed. But as betrayal threatens to drown the courts of Fairy in violence, Jude will need to risk her life in a dangerous alliance to save her sisters and Fairy itself. From #1 New York Times best-selling author Holly Black comes the first book in a stunning new trilogy filled with twists and enchantment, as one girl learns the meaning of true power when she finds herself caught in a web of royal fairy intrigue. And I was so excited to get this book. Okay, so the next book is from the February Owl Crate box, and it is the book that I am most excited to read from these Owl Crate boxes. I'm so excited for this book, and that is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. Okay, so this book is about a girl named Alice, whose grandmother was an author of these dark, twisted fairy tales, and she passes away alone on her estate, the Hazelwood. And then Alice's mother gets kidnapped by one of the characters from one of these fairy tales. And the only warning that she gets from her mother is to stay away from the Hazelwood. But Alice ends up having to trek to the Hazelwood and go against these fairy tale creatures that she thought were just part of a story to save her mother. And then the last of the books from boxes is Arlo Finch in the Valley of Fire by John August. And this was from the February Owl Crate Junior box. And it says, Arlo Finch thought becoming a ranger meant learning wilderness skills like camping and knots. But upon arriving in the tiny town of Pine Mountain, Colorado, Arlo soon learns there's so much more. His new friends, Indra and Wu, teach him how to harness the wild magic seeping in from the mysterious Longwoods, a parallel realm of wonder and danger. First, he must master the basics, including snaplights, thunderclaps, and identifying supernatural creatures. But Arlo Finch is no ordinary ranger, and this is no ordinary time. A dark and ancient force is sending threats into the real world, our world, and whatever it is has its sights set on Arlo. Through perilous adventures and close calls, Arlo is awakened to his unique destiny, but the obstacles he faces will test the very foundations of the ranger's vow: loyalty, bravery, kindness, and truth. And I think that's something that Xander's really going to enjoy. Okay, so we're coming up to the last 3 books. These all came from BooksAMillion. And I got them on the day that I thought I was going to be meeting Victoria Schwab and getting my Darker Shade of Magic books signed. And I guess it was canceled for some reason. And, well, I was kind of like, I came here to get books signed, but I can instead buy books that are already signed. So I bought 3 of their already signed books. So the first book I got is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. And I actually have, you can't see it, but I have a poster just past this curtain here. Let me see if I can, there you go. You can see it up there from this book. And I very much relate to this girl because, well, she's allergic to everything. And though I'm not quite this extreme, I am pretty allergic to a lot of things. I am allergic to the world. So it says, my disease is as rare as it is famous. Basically, I'm allergic to the world. I'm sorry, I didn't even read that part before I said what I just said. I don't leave my house, have not left my house in 17 years. The only people I ever see are my mom and my nurse, Carla. But then one day, a moving truck arrives next door. I look out my window and I see him. He's tall, lean, and wearing all black. Black t-shirt, black jeans, black sneakers, and a black knit cap that covers his hair completely. He catches me looking and stares at me. I stare right back. His name is Ollie. Maybe we can't predict the future, but we can predict some things. For example, I'm certainly going to fall in love with Ollie. It's almost certainly going to be a disaster. And I just thought that sounded so cute. And the fact that she's allergic to everything, it's just, I relate. Not to that extreme, but I relate. And here's the autograph. Okay, so next up we have Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. And I don't have the first book in this series, but I do plan on getting it. But they didn't have a signed copy of it there, so I thought I would just wait and get it at some point from Thrift Books or Book Outlet, or I don't know. But I got this one because it was signed, and I knew I wanted to get the whole series, so that's what the signature looks like. And then this next one, this was my last book here, was the one I was most excited about finding, because it is by one of my absolute favorite authors, and odds are I'll never get to meet this author. Odds are I'll never get to have him autograph a book for me, because he lives on the opposite side of the country, and he doesn't do like book signing tours. Apparently, from what I hear, he's actually afraid of flying, and I mean, I understand that. So, but he apparently just stays in his general area doing signings and things like that. So when I found a signed book by him, I was so excited. And I'm like, yes, I have to buy this book. And that was The Whispering Room by Dean Koontz. And that just made me so happy. And this is a Jane Hawk novel, and this is not the first book in the series. So I just looked it up, and the first book in this series is The Silent Corner. And then the third one is The Crooked Staircase. And I will have to get those later, but I was just so tickled to get this, because I don't want to spoil anything for these books. I'm not actually reading what it says about it because it's not the first book. But look at his beautiful signature. I mean, you can actually read his name. I thought that was really cool. And that is my entire book haul for March. And I'll be doing another Book Outlet book haul in probably about 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. And have you read any of these books? Do you like them? Comment down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time,